If you haven't found it yet, keep looking and don't settle.
Yeah, this is Houston. We're copying. Everything is go here.
We shall fight on the beaches and in the streets. We shall never surrender.
I'm in it just to rewrite history, cause I'm in the mood to label us the leaders of the new school. This ain't for the radio, can't find this on YouTube. This the type of killing that these critics ain't used to.
You're a group of happy rebels. You've said no to the rules of the game and the regulations of the day. You've said no to the conventional wisdom. You're all originals.
In this day and age, I got time for innovation, time to be creative, time to make the way.
Welcome to the 90 Proof Wisdom Podcast, where we dream big and challenge the conventional wisdom. This podcast is about distilling the lessons we've learned in life and business and turning them into tools that will help you succeed personally and professionally. We're about standing firm, running towards the battle, building communities, changing the game, and staking our claim. Today we're going to be talking with Ogden City Fire Captain Rich King. He's been with Ogden City Fire for over 20 years, in the fire industry for over 30 years. He's the director and running the honor guard here in Weber County with the combined fire services around to commemorate funerals and fallen firefighters alike. He also is in charge of the memorial, the Firefighters Memorial here in Ogden that covers the West Coast. It's a beautiful memorial here on Ogden City's 24th Street. So if you ever have a chance to come see it, come see it. So we look forward to talking with Rich King today, and tune in. Hope you like it. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. We've got the infamous Rich King right here with us today. Originally from Virginia, settled in right here in our hometown of Ogden City. I'm glad he's here. He's a full-time captain over at Ogden City Fire Department. True. Really, really passionate guy, and I'm excited that he took a few minutes here today to come talk to us a little bit about what's made Rich King tick, and he's got a big story ahead of him and behind him.
Well, I appreciate you having me, Jeremy.
Well, we're happy you're here. So, Rich, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
As you said, I'm from Virginia, Fort Lee. I was an Army brat. My whole life was spent in Virginia. Graduated from there, joined the Navy, was stationed up. I figured I'd be stationed in Norfolk, close to home, but they shipped me off to Whidbey Island, Washington. And we knows where that's almost by Vancouver. And as far as away from home I can get, great thing. Actually, a backstory of that, I am a twin. I actually signed my twin brother up in the Navy using his ID.
So you weren't supposed to go, it was your brother?
Well, we both were.
Oh, I see.
He was meant to go with me. I was going in anyway, but he wanted to come, but he just didn't know it. So he came in. We both, we did our tour, 4-year tour. I came to Utah because my grandparents were living out here. Grandfather retired from the Air Force out here at Hill, went to work at Thicol back in the day. And one thing led to another, and it's kind of where I started my firefighting thing was in the Navy also. Actually, it started way before that. My little brother sat in couches and forests on fire, so we had to put them out. I did. So that's where I
yeah, Virginia?
Yeah, in Virginia.
There you go.
That's where I got my first taste of firefighting. And then when I was in the military, that was one of my jobs was firefighter, and then it's went on from there.
So you were 18 when you joined the military?
17.
17. Mm-hmm. So and then you went off.
Mm-hmm. Went off, left home, and me and my brother, I figured, like I say, if I got to go, he's got to go. We've been together for, at that time, 17 years and 8 months. He needed to go with me.
Right.
You know.
Right. And you're scared.
And I was scared. I was a big puss. No doubt about it.
And you've been in, so how old are you right now?
I'm 58.
58. I mean, and you'd think for 58, look at him. That looks more like 73.
It's easy.
The opposite.
Not a day over 83.
This guy's a really disciplined man, and that's why it's kind of enticing to talk to him. So you moved to Ogden.
Moved to Ogden. Like I said, got out of the Navy, came here. First thing my dad told me when I told him I was going to Utah, I said, don't you go there because you're going to be stuck there. Married one of them little Mormon girls, and they're like, oh, Dad, you're full of it. Yeah, sure shit. That's what happened.
Yep.
So then I got a job out at Thicol. I was a third-generation person out there. My grandfather worked there. My mom worked there during the Vietnam War. My dad was over in Vietnam. And I was third generation to work at Thicol. I was a firefighter out there.
Oh, that's where you started fire?
Yeah.
Was Thicol?
I actually started it in the Navy, but
I mean outside of
the Navy,
yes.
Of
the Navy.
It was at Thicol.
Awesome. And how long were you there?
15 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hence, that's why you're still working every day.
Every day.
Well, 2 days straight.
Yeah.
4 off, right?
2 on, 4 off, yeah. Then I saw the writing on the wall while I was out there. I worked part-time for Roy Fire, and I knew municipality was where I wanted to be. Industrial was okay, but I was more of a fire inspector, not a firefighter.
Right.
So when I came to Roy working part-time, I was fighting fires. Like, all right, this is where I want to be. So I tested with Ogden and Roy, and the state fire marshal's office had a job offer for all three, and I went to Ogden because it was busier.
And it's busy.
Yeah.
That's one. That's no joke.
21 years later, I still love it.
21 years at Ogden City.
At Ogden City.
And then total years in fire?
Total years in fire, 38.
38. Like 2 years longer than I've been alive. Well, maybe.
What's your mom's name?
I know, right? Just kidding. Yeah, there it goes. Hey, watch out there, kid. No, not quite. But I'm almost 36.
Yeah, almost. Wow.
Plus a few, maybe 10.
A day over
46. Wow. Anyway, so Rich, you go to Ogden City. Tell us a little bit about what I kind of like to cover is we're dealing with an influx, and especially you, of new people every day. And I think the times from when you first started in municipalities, Roy City, then Ogden City full time, we have a different group, right? It's a different crowd, and it's okay. We have to be flexible and adjustable to it, and it's harder. The testing systems have changed, the requirements have changed, and rightfully so. Things are okay to change. But tell me kind of what it took back then for you to get in. And
when I very first started, when I came to Utah originally too, I was a volunteer firefighter up in Minden when I was working out at Dicall too. And I said, I'm going to be a firefighter. They threw me day boots. And if anybody knows what day boots, they are boots that go to your like hip waders and for fly fishing. That was my turnouts and a long coat. So it was, I'm like, cool. I like this. Now to date that back, when I was in the Navy, we had our SCBAs were a canister on the front of us. We tipped it up, turned it over, and we started breathing like charcoal type stuff. And that was our SCBAs. Your
filter.
Yeah, our filter. Yeah. So, I mean, I knew right there when I first time I put that mask on, I was going to be a firefighter. Now coming to Ogden, that was a challenge because I'll be honest, I've told kids coming up through the years that if you really want to be a true firefighter, Ogden's the place to be just because you're busy. We fight lots of fires. We do lots of medicals. We're busy all day long. And it's going to make you good. Make you the best at your job.
That's what you do. Yeah, you can't. You can have the years, but if you're missing the calls, that's a problem. You can have the education, but if you're missing the experience, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Anyway, as I look back at the career, so I got my EMT in '93 and started playing a little bit in South Davis Fire, and then it's been kind of a go back and forth to the fire world. But as a young person and what you look for when you're testing EMTs or firefighters, and I think this is interesting to them, if they're looking for an opportunity or ways to really nail their interview or nail their skills or nail their testing so they have an opportunity to get into the fire business, what would you say the right person should do and what they should look for to shoot for that? How would you, with as many years experience that you have, what would you tell them? I would start here, and this is kind of what we look for.
So what we're looking for, and I'll use an individual here in a minute because I've done interviews over the years of new hires and whatnot. And one of the things that you need to get anymore, you could come in with your basic EMT. No, you need to be intermediate. Medic's great. If you have it, great. What I've noticed now, our trend is going more outside of Utah. We've got a lot of people that have come from outside of Utah here, from Texas, from Florida, from Maine, some different. So we're getting a lot of different influxes of different type of people here. But there's one individual who's a legacy. His dad was a firefighter, grandpa was a firefighter. And what stuck out to me the most is, what do you want out of the fire service? And he says, I just want to be the best firefighter I can be. You get those interviews and the guy says, what's your goals in the fire service? Well, I want to be the chief. I want to be a paramedic. Everybody wants to be a paramedic. It's like, you've already failed.
For 5 cents?
Yeah.
Hey, think about it. It's a 5% pay differentiation. Remember, you're going to be doing all the reports.
Exactly.
You're going to be up all night.
Yeah.
Just be careful what you wish for. And not that I didn't love it.
No, let's be real too. Sometimes you get a very strong punt leg because when you're punting a lot of calls to the big
you're such a dick. Hey,
exactly.
you want me? Is this borderline?
Yeah.
Are we just going to call it? Like, wow, hey, that was. So that's why my left leg's a little bigger again, if you're wondering why.
He punts a lot.
What a douche. So anyway.
But, this kid, instead of
And I have a lot of pens.
Yeah. Exactly.
I take all.
And probably have 3 or 4 pagers too.
Yeah.
But the kid said, you know what? I just want to be the best firefighter I can be. I want to learn as much as I can. I want to do the best job I can. And that stuck out to me because not a lot of kids say that stuff. they say, paramedic, chief, I want to be the chief. Like, no, I've seen what chiefs do. I don't want to be a chief, you know?
Yeah, no. It just moves to a desk, right? So
Exactly.
really it's a hard job because you didn't get into that business to be to be a desk guy. You got into it to do this, but it's fun to watch some of these chiefs that can really take that skill set and magnify it to the next level. And then you see other ones that just fumble it.
Yep.
And they are not the same person they were as a firefighter, and they have fumbled it to the point where then it destroys departments, it destroys morale, it kills it. I mean, it blows attrition through the roof, right? Employee turnover is insane. Your base core of employees that used to have a lot of depth become super wide. There's just a lot of width and no depth. So you have a whole bunch of people but have no skill set.
Right.
When you came to the department, there was a ton of skill set and maybe a minimal amount of people, but believe it or not, the skill set and the minimal amount of people tends to run better than a whole lot of width and no depth. Because I can promise you one thing, I would much rather choose you to be on a fire ground as my captain or as my firefighter partner than a good percentage of the new people that come in. And we get rid of the people that have I know you can do that, but just don't. Yeah, it's okay. But we lose that, right? And then you have those 220-ers that have been there for 2 days. And then, you know, the one that say, I want to be the best firefighters I can be. I agree that I love those guys too, as long as I want to be the best firefighter I can be. And I already know everything. So this is great.
Well, we add one more thing to that too, because they're not just the 220 kids, they're the YouTubers.
So 220, everybody is people that have been there for 2 months and act like they've been there 20 years, or 2 years and act like they've been 20 years.
But now we got YouTubers that will YouTube it on TV and on their internet and whatnot, on their phones, and say, oh, look, this is what this firefighter's doing. Now I can do it. Now I'm a real firefighter. No, it doesn't work that way.
So that's the new trend.
I've watched some of my kids. I have to call them kids because they're old enough to be my kids. But I've watched some of these young people come in, and that's exactly what they're doing. I've got one kid that's very smart, and he watches a lot of YouTube and a lot of skill sets, but when he comes to doing the practical stuff, he can't do it. Or he struggles.
Hard. Yeah.
He tries hard. He just can't do it.
And you know what? I'll give everybody that has try something, but if they have the other ones, it's like no try, no drive, no desire. Why are you here? Right? A lot of them are titleistic, I think.
Well, we've got a couple individuals that thinks the more fire tattoos you get makes you a firefighter, and you know the old pinups and
that sucks. I don't even have a tattoo.
I have one on my shoulder, but it commemorates 9/11. We, a group of us went back after 9/11, did some service work back there. So that's another story. But I mean,
we'll get into that.
Okay, but I just look at. But what also changed in the fire service for us was probably mid 2000s when they changed it from a 2050 to the new.
So Dan Lillianquist, right?
Yeah,
came in, destroyed the retirement system. Right, went from a 20-year retirement, and just FYI, I shared the same office as Dan. So anyway, whether he knows or not, but he's not. I'm not a fan. Of Dan.
Oh, no.
He didn't look at it other than just at a bureaucratic level.
Exactly.
It turned the people that get paid the least upside down, and we turned the state's budget economically on its head to benefit the top side at the expense of the very lowest, most dedicated people. And I'm not just saying that from the fire side, but the police side and the fire side.
Public servant.
Yeah. So the only thing I would say was if we're working, a normal state employee works 160 hours a month, and they were frustrated that we only had to do 20 years and they're doing 30. And to me, it's just simple math. If you're going to do 240 hours a month, which is what a firefighter is doing, it's 33% more time per month. So then you take a 30-year career, it's time in and time out, right? So that's how long you have to get out of it. Well, if you're going to give 30% more, then you should get out 30% sooner. You just compounded your hours.
Right.
Well, now we have to do 25 years with what's going from 50 to 32.75% or 33%, right?
It's back up to 50.
To 50, but you still have 25. So yes,
yes.
For 7 years, we dropped down to 25, or excuse me, 30 and change.
38 point something.
And then we now back up to 50, but we still have 5 years. So now instead of whatever, let's call it a normal work year is 1960 to 2020, 2020 hours times 52 weeks. So you're looking at, or that's annualized, right? So you times that over 30 years, you got 60,000 hours, right? Just give or take. And then for a firefighter, you're doing 2,960 to 3,080 hours a year. Well, you do that over 25 years. Now you're giving an extra 20,000 hours to participate in the same retirement program as the rest of the state. And to me, it's just asinine to require of it, first and foremost. Second, we're doing it at a 24-hour level or a 48-hour level, trying to perform day and night. Now, I know every time you drive by the fire station, it looks like we're not doing anything. But you're usually in bed at night, and that's where the calls start to flow and really break you down. Hopefully. Well, I mean, they're usually in bed, hopefully, or we're on their call, typically, right? Then nothing good happens after one. Holds true. Anyway, it's just it's a sad piece, and I think because they are so willing to help, and because they're so willing to sacrifice their time and themselves, you know, their bodies and their lives, that we choose to pick them first because we know they're the least likely to fight. Even though they'll fight for us, they won't fight against us. They are on our team. They are our team, right? Police, fire, EMS, military is our team. So to go reach down to the level of the person that isn't going to fight is a super, super pussy way to do it. Like, I'm like, why would you go after the guy that's not going to say no? Why?
Or can't.
Because it's the easiest guy. And then I can walk away with a trophy. They're not going to fight me. Our union's a bunch of pussies most of the time. Nothing against, you know, freaking the PFFU. I love our guys, right? Jack Tidrow's wonderful. There's only a certain thing we can do when you get the state legislation against us, right? And they see our pockets as something they can borrow from or steal from, I'm going to say. Just call it what it is. And
I have to tell you, because I was vice president of our union for Ogden for quite a few years. And nothing appalled me more when I had to go down and basically kiss a legislature's ass who's supposed to be working for me.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Dude, you work for me. Why am I kissing your ass? You should be kissing mine. So that used to drive me nuts.
Same problem with the IFF when I was the union president for Roy. I hated it. Like, I'm like, what are you guys in here? And they're just bowing at the legislation as they're fighting tier 2 and like, oh, we get it. There's not enough money. I'm like, really? There's not enough money? Really? There's a whole bunch more. You're just spending it wrong, right? And maybe, you know, we sit here and I guess it's easy for us to say we're armchair quarterbacking, but to me, government funds are reversed. They're incentivized on the opposite side of what they should be. To me, you know, their concern is to make sure they maximize their budget, spend a little bit more so we can increase budgets every year. Go back a little bit different. And let's say, look, if we can save a little money, do better service, better equipment, save some money, we'll split it amongst the people, the whole department, if we do better, at a 10% of whatever we save annualized, and we won't touch next year's budget. Right?
But then it goes into the city coffers. So that
well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's reverse incentivized, and the city coffers take it, and then they blow it, and then they ask for a little bit more money, and it never trickles down. Now, Ogden's done a great job of giving raises. So props to Ogden. Roy's sucked hind tit. Like, they have been the worst at the attempt, the most selfish at the approach. They have not saying that they haven't tried, but they have tried at the level of superficial, right? They're just doing it in face.
Right.
And these people are still living on wages less than In-N-Out Burger. They are. Bottom line, a starter firefighter in Roy City is making less than In-N-Out Burger. So you guys take that to the bank and you tell your friends, like, hey, this is what it is when you say, I'm going to buy you a sandwich. First off, I don't like it when people buy our sandwiches. It doesn't make me feel great. But understand, they're celebrating hot dogs most of the time on their mac and cheese.
Right.
They just don't have much more to give, and they don't get much more at home, and they don't beg. So you're not going to see them in there saying, hey, we're broke. They're not striking. They're not yelling. They're doing what they say. So guess what? At the state level, that's where we're attacked.
Well, see, you bring that up, but Salt Lake City, years before Tidrow and back in the 70s, 80s, they somehow made their union strong down there. And they have a power down there. We don't.
They do.
We've always been told you're a right to work state. This is what you're going to get.
Well, I remember Jason and people when we were going back and forth about raises, and Jason Polson, who was the chief of Roy, he was getting up for money, right? All the time. Well, you're making $15.25 as a medic. This is 2016, full time, right? So you have a paramedic, you have your pumper, you have engineering, you're teaching PALS and PEP and ACLS, and you're still there. Like, my net check after I contributed to my retirement was $762. That was my net check for 2 weeks. That's 120 hours, right? This is June 2016 when I left. That's what I'm getting. Well, they were so arrogant about people wanting to come to work. They're like, look, if you want more money, Salt Lake South, and then you can go north anywhere. But we don't ever. We have a line of people waiting to get in here,
which is bullshit.
Which isn't true, right? And they may be, but they don't stay. So what I think happened is, even though the money change didn't happen with Jason or John Ritchie, people were there with John. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there was more of an opportunity or a mission that was clear. So people are willing to sacrifice money for a team and a mission and a goal, right? And I think we had an understanding, and it was more of a team environment. Even though everybody didn't love John Ritchie, I personally like John Ritchie a lot, but I felt like there was a common goal, and that we were proud to be Roy City, and we were proud to be really good at what we did, and we were just proud of our department. Well, then just it kind of changed when the morale changed, and people were wondering if they're at will because they're firing it for any reason. They were trying to terminate people, great people that did, not trying, but getting terminated. Right. It really put people at unease. And so then you look outside.
One of our biggest, I think, hindrances is Salt Lake City, because they can come in.
Well, we're the training ground, man.
We are. Weber County is the training ground for Salt Lake City medics. Yeah. And I've made the statement: if you want to be good at your craft, you want to be the best, you want to be the best paramedic firefighter, stay in Weber County, because you're going to get the experience down there. I says if you stay here as a medic, you're going to be the top-notch medics in the state. You can run circles around any medics down south, I promise you, because you're going to be mediocre at the best down there. And I've talked to some.
It's just call volume.
Yeah, it's just call volume. It's just call volume, and it's because they run medic engines, they run medic everything on everybody's medics,
and they have transport services,
and they have a transport service through Gold Cross, which we do our own transports up here. Yeah, still amazes me to this day that Salt Lake City can function without having an ambulance to bring in revenue.
Right.
So that tells you the tax base.
Yeah, a lot better than ours.
It is.
We're sitting here just trying to figure it out, and I'm not trying to beat up council members or try to beat up departments. I'm just saying that why is it in life we have a tendency to go attack the people that are the least likely to attack back, even though they're the ones that are the most giving. And I think you could take that same relationship and relate it at home, right? We have all our problems that build up at work every day, and then we end up taking it back at home. Why? Because they're the most dedicated to us as a person. They love us unconditionally, and we have a tendency to take that home and beat it up. And it's unfortunate, because really they're the last ones that should get it. Right. And if we look at it at a city level, same thing happens. They're the ones that care for us. They're the ones that's always there. They don't care if they tried to shoot you yesterday. They don't care if they called you names, peed on you, spit on you, threw up on you. It doesn't matter. Right. You get a call back to that address, you're back tomorrow. Yep. To get peed on again, and thrown up again.
And showing them respect.
Yeah, as much as you
can.
Some
that they don't deserve, but they get the respect.
But they get it, right? And so, and then that's who we choose to pick on. Yeah. To me, like our cops, this whole freaking police lives don't matter, cancel culture for cops. I mean, to me, the cops are the most important component of EMS and fire. Mm-hmm. They do above and beyond more than anything they're required to do. They step in to, like, just so you guys know, when we get called to Weber County and it's a domestic disturbance or a shooting or a stabbing or almost every call, every call, right? There's times that very rare. I'd say it's probably in the 5 percentile that we don't get cleared first. Mm-hmm. But we sit outside until they tell us scene secure. Yep. Which means some poor singular individual most of the time walks into this scene by themselves to make sure that a crew of 7 firefighters are safe. Mm-hmm. So how do you take that for granted? You just don't. So that's why Captain King's over here saying, look, you get rid of our cops, we're staying outside.
Exactly.
And you can have a cardiac arrest inside the door. We're waiting to be cleared. We don't know what got you there.
Exactly. Because whether the public knows this or not, a lot of times it's the cops initiating CPR. They're the first ones on scene, and they're the ones that get the CPR going for them. Or it's even better nowadays. Our cops have been really good. It says, we got a psych, we'll take care of it. You guys just go do your.
They're canceling you before you go in there. Yeah, that's awesome. So they can pink slip and take care of it without you having to transport by ambulance to take you guys out of service. Which, by the way, we're so understaffed and undermanned and under equipment. And that's nothing wrong with Ogden City. It's just that it is the call volume demand is so high that there's a lot of times there's no apparatuses.
Absolutely. I mean, when I left work a couple of days ago, we're at 79,000 calls already for the year. That's more than a lot of departments run in 7 years.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Say that out loud again. 79.
7,900.
Oh, 7,900.
Yeah. And they're all
calls.
Separate calls.
We're not quite June.
Yeah, we're not quite June yet.
So keep that in mind. 7,900 calls, separate incidences, with 6 stations in Ogden City. 5 stations.
Yep. 5 stations.
That's it.
Yep.
How many ambulances?
We have 6 ambulances.
In 5 stations.
In 5 stations.
Yep.
because we have one in the Terrace. Actually, we have one in Plain City too. And then
staffed by part-time volunteer and some full-time Ogden Fire guys, right? So I just ran one with them a little bit.
They're
ago.
all employed by Ogden City, but but they're all
from home.
They're just EMTs. They're not firefighters.
Right. Not to turn it into any type of negative.
No.
The goal is to look at it and say, hey, what is it that we really want to look at when we get into the fire service?
The way I sum it up to our new firefighters coming in, it's not about the money. It's about your love for the job. I left money working at Thiokol to come to Ogden. I took a big pay cut.
Right.
But why? It's because I love what I do. And I wanted to be the best firefighter EMT that I could. And I knew Ogden was the place for me. And I still believe that to this day. If you want to become good at your craft, become the best, Ogden, Weber County is the best place to be because you're going to use it. You don't just sit back and it's not just training. You don't just train. I know departments down south that, oh man, we trained for 10 hours today. Well, did you use it? No, but we trained. Great.
Which I appreciate.
Oh, you can appreciate the training, but until you utilize that training on something actual, you don't know how you're going to react when it actually happens. Because I've seen guys that train, and when the real thing happens, they freeze because it's real. I've had people leave me in on structure fires because they were supposed to be the trainer, and they left because. And
now you're training the trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
That's how that works.
And so until you get in there and start using your skills and utilize them, which we do in Ogden, because it's an old town. You know, it's got a lot of transients. It's got a lot of homeless. It's got a lot of, cross between bilinguals and things like that. And it's a population of 80 plus, and you're protecting it with, 36 firefighters on duty a day. It's
hard. Like we get into to find that person though, there's people that have the passion for the title, like we said, or the passion for the job. For me, I still can't leave. And it's not like you do it for the money.
Yeah.
I look forward to every opportunity I can have, and it's actually a downer when I don't get to cover some for that month. Like I really want to go in as much as I can, and I talked to Chief Clark, and he's like, "Why don't you apply for this full-time spot?" And I took it home, and I really wanted to. Like I'm gonna. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, wait a second, I got Murphy Door, Murphy Ladder, I got real estate, I got places in different offices in California and Georgia and Kentucky and here, and but I still have family time. But to be honest with you, it is almost like family time to me. Just to go back and sit down and be with people that are truly doing this because they love it, most of them, that truly do it because for their love of their family, their fire family, and they would never want anything to happen, even though you can have some differentiating views and opinions and people to the point it's super frictional at times in the station. It still is not where they would leave you high and dry. They will lay down next to you and not leave without you, the 2 in, 2 out, right? So where I wanted to go with that too is, you get so emotionally tied. You've been in this 21 years.
With Ogden, yeah.
So there's a lot of trauma there.
Absolutely.
So how do you do that? Like the question is for you, 21 years of beating yourself or going to the call, showing up to the station, trying to be positive, trying not to take yesterday's bad things out on the person today, right? Your frustrations, not taking it home, and then not swinging from a rope, right?
Yeah.
So we already know the high levels of PTSD and suicidal tendencies and suicide attempts and suicides in the fire, EMS, and police world that, by the way, the public and the news and the citizens are making worse. Not all. The small percentages have the mic,
right?
Like 2% probably are on the anti, I would imagine. I'll give them 10. It's still far from the people that really have the voice. But what's made you want to wake up every day? And how do you take it from the trauma you've seen and make a win out of it? How do you progressively get better in the fire service to step in from the new recruit 21 years ago, being an firefighter, becoming an EMT, getting your ambulances, and then transporting, and then wanting to be a captain, not wanting to look for something that isn't so emotionally, such an emotional breakdown, as well as such a time demand. We used to have a hard schedule. I think 4896s may be easier, but
some like it, some don't. I can go either way. It doesn't matter to me. I actually have less time to do what I want with the 4896 because in between that modified Kelly, when you work 24 on, 24 off for 4 shifts, I could do all my running around and bill paying or whatever in between my shifts. And then on my 4 days off, I could go play. I can't do that now. Now I got my doctor's appointments I have to set up on my 4 days off.
It's geriatric. It's all.
It's my geriatric, but yeah, when I get my jazzy serviced. Smart house. But, I think one of the biggest things for me personally is that I can't say I'm not a religious man, but I do have a belief. And I believe that those are good, will go up. And those are bad, will go down. And I believe that, I believe I was put here to make a difference. And my difference is being able to get up every morning. And there's different things the way you do that too. I mean, there's been hard days, I ain't gonna lie. But for me personally, I work out. I love to go to the gym. I get a lot of frustrations out of the gym. I love to draw. I love the artwork. I love my motorcycle. I love my wife, but those are things I can rely on. Now, my wife has no clue about my job. And well, she does. She has a clue, but I don't go home and tell her all the bad stuff because some people can, some people can't, but she's so visual that she won't be able to sleep for days because, and I'm good with that. But I get it out in a lot of my artwork because a lot of my artwork could be dark, or I get it out at the gym. And I work out, and I make it a point to work out every day, not just because it's part of my job to stay healthy and fit, not just for me, but for the people I work with and the people I take care of. I mean, I hate it when people give me that thing. Oh, you're just a firefighter, so sit around making muffins and eating, donuts and stuff all day long. No, it doesn't happen that way. I go to the gym twice a day, 4 o'clock in the morning and then again at night. Mm-hmm. So, I try to stay physically and mentally fit.
And ready for the job.
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, Rich also paints wonderful pictures. He's made a lot of the patches around the state.
Yep.
So the shoulder patches that you see on firefighters' arms, a lot of those have been drawn by Rich. We had one. Mm-hmm. Roy did, Morgan County.
I've done 36 patches throughout the state and probably another 20 around the country.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun as you walk by and see the sleeves.
It is.
Love his art. He's done the bottom of Station 4. Awesome. The bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So really, really fun to see, and he does spend his time well. But so this trauma side, we're going back to that. Mm-hmm. How do you step through it? You don't share it with your family. You don't share it with your mom, or you're not your mom. Excuse me, your wife.
Yeah.
Sometimes they act like our mothers. Though, let's be honest. Yeah, my wife did that to me today.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did that. Freaking woman. Anyway. So how do you do it? How do you cope with it? Would you tell people that are interested in the job, or at least maybe not even to go do the job, but just to help appreciate and understand kind of what these individuals at 19-year-old or 18-year-old firefighters to your age are kind of dealing with? There's some of them you'll find deep aggression. You'll find them really removed, right? There's some that are just super distal or angry or frustrated or edgy or... How would you say you've learned to cope with the trauma? There's some rough stuff. And I'd also, at the same time, what was your changing point calls? When did you see transitional moments that were identifiers to Rich King on who you are now? And what were those steps along the way? What were those dimes?
Oh, geez, man. It's always said, okay, my job's not the movies. I've pulled kids out of fires and they've never been alive, but I have a belief that they're in better hands because sometimes their conditions, the lifestyles that they were living in, they're probably better off in heaven,
right,
than with that individual that was supposed to be taking care of them,
right.
And so sometimes I've asked myself this question and I've asked my wife this, and others have asked me. So I was built differently because I can go on that trauma and then I can go back to bed and sleep.
Yeah, me too.
And why? I don't know, because I believe, well, it's really funny because my son came home from Sunday school one day and says, Dad, you're going to heaven. Like, what do you mean? I'm going to heaven. He says, we learned today that people that help people will go to heaven. I said, man, I hope it's that easy.
That's why you're still at the fire department.
Exactly. I still want the ticket up.
Yeah, right.
I still want that ticket up. But so his words kind of rang true to me a little bit, but that you have to learn that you just can't dwell on things. You have to deal with them. You got to talk them out. Now, I've talked to other firefighters and stuff about me, like bad calls. How do we deal with this? A lot of times the public may see a firefighter laughing, but that's how we de-escalate. That's how we get through the call, because we're not making fun of the situation at all, but it's how we get through that major
That's
trauma.
our stress release while you're there. Like maybe a giggle or a laugh or make a comment.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though it's never meant in mal.
It's
I've never known. I've heard some things when they're agonal, or when we move someone and then it sounds like they're breathing, and then there's a chuckle like, oh, I guess he's still, and it's not anything funny.
Yeah.
It is a scary moment. We're about to tell somebody the worst news of their life on the worst day of their life. It's not that we're laughing outside.
Oh.
Maybe outside, but on the inside, it's not as easy.
Oh, it's tearing you up inside. But you just have to realize that you got to do another call. You're going to be on the next
right
one.
after that one.
Yep. And it's funny because I can, even after all these years of doing it, especially with Ogden for 21 years, I can still remember some of the most calls that you would see would be worse, but it's like you put it and you make friends with it and you're good with it.
This is one of the things I think that fire have another advantage over police. We have a partner. Mm-hmm. We're always two in. Mm-hmm. Cops don't.
Nope.
We deal with shit. We've seen some ugly stuff. We've seen ugly stuff. I believe I remember a breathing problem that was going right to shit. Mm-hmm. And I remember showing up, and Rich, you don't get nervous much. You're like, dude, I'm glad you're here. This one's he's going to die.
Yeah.
Right? He ended up not dying, but it was close. Like, it was a touch and go deal. Right. And not that it was a sad moment, but there's certain ones that are pivotal. And the stress that you feel, right, that is super rare. So when you walk into a scene and you see Rich King a little nervous, you get kind of ass puckered,
a little bit,
right? Because he's only been around a minute,
yeah.
right? So he's seen a lot. And if you see an ass puckered Rich King, it's kind of like, okay, this probably isn't good, right? And I think as young firefighters lean on older fire guys or EMS guys, you set the tone when you get out of the captain's seat or you get out of the medic tech seat, right? When you're the one tech in that day, you can look around and be like, oh, and then if you have that appearance, that whole scene goes to shit. Mm-hmm. But you go in an MCI and you come in and, all right, let's do it this way, the best we can. If your captain's got a nice pulse to him, mm-hmm. and he's got it collected and he's calm, that whole scene runs better. If you have a captain that gets out of there and that everything runs to a freaking shit fire, nothing seems to go together. But the guy that people look up to, whoever's in charge of the call, fire scenes or medic scenes or whatever, if that guy's disconnected or completely discombobulated, that goes bad.
I've had a lot of great captains. This is one of the things I tell people trying to promote the captain or whatever, or any kind of leadership position. You will take a little bit of every leader you've had over you. Some good, some bad. You try to limit the bad. But Lee Robson was one of our old captains here. And he would get out, pee on the tire, and then go to work. Take a deep breath, look at what you got, and then go to work. And one of my firefighters was like, Captain, why are you always so slow getting out of the truck? I'm like, I'm not. I get my pack on, I get my air on, I get ready to go. I take a look back, see what we got, and then what? You're at the door. I had one firefighter go kick the wrong door because he didn't know what he was doing. Says, you went to the wrong place. Why? Because you were in a hurry. Take a step back, take a deep breath, then go to work. And when you go to work, we're going to go to work. So it's just one of those things that I've learned from previous captains. I've had some great ones. I mean,
take a breath.
Yeah, take a deep breath. And I call it the reset, or hit pause. Push pause, take a reset, and then go to work. And push play again. Just push play,
That's one thing I think I was blessed with a little bit is when I get on stressful, I think I operate, as I've gotten older now, in my 46th year, I know, I've realized that I operate better under an extreme pressure pot. When I don't have the stress, I find myself in places I don't want to be mentally. Like, mm-hmm. You don't want to be there, so I end up overfilling my plate. And so on fire scenes, I think that's what I'm trying to do today from what I used to have on fire scenes. Like, you'd get on a call and you'd like all the stuff where there was big decisions to make and big actions to take and look up to your leaders. But you look for that stress. Like, there's so much stress there, and I felt like it calmed me down. Mm-hmm. So when I'd go on those calls, I would come out calm, which a lot of people do the opposite.
Right.
And then I search for that calm now. And so I think in order for me to find it here, I have to overload my plate.
Right.
So I feel ultra stressed. So it's a different world. I don't get to see a lot of the stuff that I got to see every day. Right. So that's why I keep my 48 hours a month kind of in play, so I can kind of get my morbid curiosity filled. Right.
Nothing. It's really weird to me because we'll go on dead people, and the cops you get like every cop in the city wanting to go see a dead guy.
You're like,
after
why?
you've seen a few, you're like, you don't want to see this.
You've
dead
seen
guy.
like a few thousand
Yeah.
last year.
And
right? I mean,
I've had young firefighters that are so anxious and want to say, time out, dude. You're going to have time for this. Trust me. If you stay in Ogden, you will have time for this. They're not all good. Especially if, and I've had to do this, and it's the hardest thing is giving notifications. When you have to tell a loved one that their loved one's not coming back, or that we're doing everything we can for this, for this individual, and he's just not responding. So it's tough to hear those cries and the wails in the back.
and we had to say it in a not. You can't say that. You have to say they're dead, right? Which is, you're not like they've moved on to a better place. And like, I just come straight out and say they're dead. I don't like the question because you're like, oh, good. So we're going to go to McKay? No, not that better place. Like, I mean, he's dead.
Yeah.
Right. So you try not to jumble the words too much and bring false hope. And I think some of the frustrations I'd have with some captains or other EMS people is when they'd leave it because it's hard to tell someone finality, right? The dead news. It's really hard to say it.
Well, I'll be honest with you. They don't teach you that. They don't teach you how to give that notification. No. So you just have to pick up wherever you can see things. And believe it or not, I've seen some good ones on TV. And you just say, hey, your loved ones.
You learned everything from Chicago Fire?
Yes, I did.
I knew it.
Backdraft.
Backdraft?
Yeah, a lot of 49. My wife hates it. I can't watch fire shows and movies with her because it just drives me nuts.
What's the new one? The fire one, the funny one with Heffernan. I love that show. That's more real.
Texas, whatever.
No, what's Oklahoma or Tulsa or Tacoma?
911 Tacoma.
Tacoma, yeah, Tacoma FD.
Oh yeah,
freaking funny. Have you watched that?
No.
You got to watch Tacoma FD.
I don't watch much TV anymore.
Well, you need to just do that one because it's so freaking funny and pretty real to what the fire day-to-day life is.
Okay.
So it's clowny, right? And their calls are clowny.
Yeah.
But it's the interaction between the fire people that are pretty fun.
Well,
so when we go back saying, yeah, they don't teach you how to do notifications, but back to what has changed you? Where was your dime change? And then now I want to lead into where you're spending a ton of your time.
So one of the things that I think changed was when we had a line of duty death, and it was Kendall Bryant. That changed my focus on different things and where we had to go with a number of things. One of them was honor guard for Weber County.
So Rich is the leader of the honor guard committee, right?
Yeah, me and Jim Robinson.
And Jimmy's great.
And Jimmy's great, but he's a great guy. Him and I, we were the ones that kind of formed it. I kind of run it because they need a figurehead, like with a big head. So I'll run it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. So
and Jimmy, bless his heart,
he's like,
is he here?
Yeah, he might be on the table.
Just kidding, Jimmy.
No, but we proposed when we did the honor guard that it would be a consolidated honor guard. Because, consolidating departments was starting to be a thing, but never in Weber County. But we consolidated the honor guard, which means that every department in Weber County had a representative on that guard.
Okay.
And we do, the thing was with Kendall's and Amy Armstrong before that, we didn't have honor guards here.
Explain to him what honor guard is.
The honor guard is a bunch of individuals that dedicated our time free. We don't charge for it. There's one thing we charge for, and that's a flag. If it goes over a casket, that's just to replace the flag. But we don't get paid. It's all voluntary. We do funerals. We do flag ceremonies. We do parades, different things like that. We've done baseball. When you present the colors of the baseball games or football or soccer, we've done things up and down the state. Just doing honor guard stuff.
So you're Class A.
Class A uniform. Sharp,
black suit top, pins, white shirt, fancy hat,
stovetop hat, the old firefighter hat with a band that says honor guard on it, just to distinguish us. Cords, we're permitted to wear an honor guard pin on our daily shirts just to signify your honor guard. How medics wear a red patch, we wear honor guard.
Yeah,
and I do have some medics on the honor guard. They're
not as good, right?
Not as good, no.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of us are prior military, where we learn honor guard stuff in the military, and plus some those that aren't. I've made a statement that if I can teach Matt Hess to march, I can teach anybody to march. And Matt Hess, I love Matt Hess. He's a captain with Ogden Fire, and
he's amazing.
He is a guy. He's one of the smartest guys I know, and everybody thinks he's this dumb hick from Tremont, and he's not.
He's not.
He's not. He's a stud.
Even that's what makes him more appealing. Is you'll look at him like, all right, country bumpkin, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, damn, all right.
I'll follow that guy anywhere.
I'm listening.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yep.
So honor guard, you said to death after Kendall Bryant, and then you started putting this mission together where we're assembling the honor guard.
Yep. We've been assembled now for over 20 years, and it wasn't shortly after Kendall's funeral that we formed it. We got everything. We got funding from the Weber County Chiefs. We actually have their name on our patch. We ran the honor guard for 10 years off $5,000. That was all the money they gave us.
Did you hear that? Say that again.
I ran the honor guard for 10 years on $5,000.
$5,000 to run. How many people are on your honor guard?
18.
18 people for 10 years.
And most uniforms cost back then when we started it was about $350, and now they're up to about $500, $600.
And who's buying those?
We are.
The individual.
No, the honor
the
guard.
department.
And some of the departments now some of the departments have kicked in and have bought some.
Some of theirs.
Yeah,
okay.
but a lot of that came out of my funds, and so we had to get creative on it. And that includes our tools, our axes, our polished axes, our parade flags, and different things of that nature.
Yeah.
So
when you came to me the other day,
mm-hmm.
you depleted your funds.
Well, I was informed that the Weber County Fire Chiefs could probably, after about 10 years of that, then that they kicked in about $1,000 a year, and I was informed that they could probably no longer fund us.
So back to a zero budget. Now you have to figure it out.
I have to figure it out. Okay. So I have to look for donations.
Good. Well, we're in.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So I'm happy to participate.
Yeah, it's awesome.
From there was another, you mentioned you have your patch or your tattoo on your arm.
Oh, so 9/11.
So what happened there?
So I was on the department. That's what's funny too. When I was on the department, just after a year, we changed our patch. I designed it, and then we ran it we have a new patch now, but it ran for almost 20 years, You're
the patch you drew?
The patch I drew.
Yeah.
But 9/11 happened. And I was on duty that day. I was at Station 6 when we had a Station 6. It's now torn down. It was at BDO. But I was out there, and we're coming off duty, and we didn't leave because we watched the second plane hit. So we're like, wow, we got to do something. So myself, Jeff Murray, Sean Netz, Rob Sterling, Chad Tucker, who was a captain at that time, but now he's moved on. He's like big executive with IHC, type Heart Institute. He's one of the smartest guys I know.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He is a good dude. There was a bunch, like 7 or 8 of us, and one deputy, Jason Boydston, went back to New York. And it just so happened that Chad had contacts back with New York EMS. And one of the people we went back to visit, we actually went back to their dispatch, and we visited there. We visited Ground Zero, but our mission wasn't to work at Ground Zero because we went back in late October, 1st November, like just barely after the towers, and it was still a rubble there. And they're still pulling things out and pieces and bodies and stuff from the tower. Our mission was to go help some widows. So Sean with Morgan raised like $60,000. We raised a lot of money for 2 widows. We picked them up. The EMS board.
Sean with Morgan.
Fire.
Oh,
Sean Netz.
So when, like Sean with Morgan. So Sean Netz with Morgan Fire in Morgan County raised $60,000.
Yep.
Oh, good. And that's my hometown, by the way.
Yeah.
Way to go, Morgan.
Yeah. And that's why I bring that up. But, and through Ogden and what we raised through here, and I designed some shirts that it's the guys raising the flag, and I drew some pictures, and we sold them. Every ounce of the money went to the widows. So through those fundraisers that we took back, quite a bit of money to the widows. And I talked to Richard Fox, who was over the EMS union back there, and he's presented him with the monies, and he distributed the money to those widows. But the 2 we helped, one of the ladies was in Tower 2, coming out of the tower as her husband was going in the tower. She never saw him.
Fire guy.
Yep. He's EMS.
Yeah.
2 different things in New York.
You can't do it.
Yeah, you can't. You're either fire or EMS. You know. So he was an EMS guy, and he was actually on the cover of Time, showing him helping a person out, but then he went back in and
never came back
out. So he went back and did homeless. And to my knowledge, to this date, we're the only group that went back and actually helped widows. We fixed electrical things at their homes. We did yard work. We did any kind of patching on roofs. Anything that needed to be done, we did it. And we spent a week back there doing that.
That was a change.
Also going to funerals. So we were also attended like 4 funerals a day.
And then, so now, just so you know, this tells you how much Rich has dedicated his life to people, right? So not just as full-time fire, as EMS guy for Ogden and Roy and Thiokol, right? Is that right?
Right.
Anyway, and then he comes back, works on the honor guard system. And then now 9/11 hits, goes and helps families. The memorial.
So we have a fallen firefighter memorial in Ogden. A lot of people don't know about it, but it sits at 25th, 2455 or 2550 something, Ogden, between Washington Boulevard and 25th Street.
So it's at the Ogden offices.
Yeah, by the city offices there, right by the amphitheater. When we came up with this idea, Mike Latham and myself were on a fire. We started doing a thing called the fire ride. A bunch of firefighters and friends on motorcycles just going for rides on the weekend. Something we love to do. And then it started to grow. And we started to charge because we made T-shirts and different things. And we started to think, let's take this money, let's build a memorial out here in Ogden. We came up with the idea and concept of the wall, of the memorial wall. There's a national wall back in Emmitsburg, Maryland. It's right by Camp David, so it's under lock and key. You can't go on there unless you're a student at the National Fire Academy. You can't just go on there and see the wall. So it had limitations. Now, the purpose of our wall was never to replace any memorials around any state or anything, but to bring a national memorial to Ogden, because if you draw a circle on Ogden around and do a circle, it's the middle of the West. That's why the Golden Spike's here. That's why the railroad finished here, because it's the middle of the West. Most people from the West will not go back east to go see a memorial. But this gives them a central point.
Kind of the same thing we did with Murphy Door in Kentucky and Utah. You figure 500 radius miles. Salt Lake City's in the heart of it. Same kind of story with Lexington. 600 radius miles, you got 50% of the U.S. pop. But you got it right in the heart of Ogden City.
Well, when we initially proposed this to the city, they were going to put us out in Dinosaur Park, way out by the mouth of the canyon. And at the time...
Pretty place, but not the traffic.
It's not the traffic, and it really doesn't meet our needs. And at the time, Godfrey was the mayor, and the only thing he did right was allowing the memorial come downtown. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
So you're the same as I am with Warren.
Yeah. So we brought the plans with I can't remember his name, Montgomery, the city planner down there in Ogden, said this is the perfect place. It's right by the amphitheater, downtown Ogden, so we can do our services there, and then you have the wall right next to it so people can visit. Open 24/7. Well, we'd say 24/7, but they close the park after 10 just because of transients and whatnot.
Sure.
But we started raising funds through the fire ride. And that fire ride, we've been going strong for 15 years. It's the oldest ride in Utah now because the MDA quit for a few years. Now the fire ride is one of the biggest and largest rides in the state. And all the proceeds of that go to fund to build the wall.
And you're into this wall?
Right now about $380,000. And we need to raise another 400 and a quarter or something to finish it. And
so you just call it, you'll be into this just under $1 million.
Just under $1 million, the $1 million project. And it's the brainchild. Like I said, Mike and I, we thought we have to do something with this. Let's honor our fallen. And not just the fallen in Utah, but all over the country. And so we get the names every year from the Nationals database. We put the same names on their wall and ours. We have a nice, beautiful statue that sits in the middle of it, and we're going to have some other artwork. It's got a firefighter with a statue now is a firefighter on bended knee with another firefighter's hand holding a helmet of a lost firefighter. And there's artwork on it. Some of it's mine, some of it's this artwork we picked up. And right now there's over 6,000 plus names on there.
So is this only line of duty death?
Only line of duty. Now,
line of duty.
If it's considered line of duty. Now, we do have a spot where we were trying to sell bricks to raise money for fundraisers for this. And on some of the bricks are just firefighters that have passed away. There is a special section there for firefighters that aren't recognized of line of duty. I think you knew Kent Taylor. Kent Taylor was a very good friend of mine, passed away of cancer, brain cancer. We know, and I don't know. I personally feel it was line of duty.
Well,
great
where'd you get the cancer
from? From the job. That's what I believe. But we didn't cover all the cancer bills. All weren't covered under us at the time. So he has a brick there stating where his time, where he passed away and everything else. We have a section over there that recognizes PTSD.
And I totally agree with it.
Because it's not considered line of duty yet. because we really don't know what triggers that PTSD, you know. But
we
you and
do.
you and I both have a friend over there.
Oh yeah,
a very close friend, Tim.
Yep.
You know, that he took his life, and for whatever reasons that may be, then you know he had to deal with those demons. But he has a place on that memorial with a brick, not on the wall, but with a brick in front of the wall, stating that.
I think it's a sad day when they don't get recognized the same.
Yeah.
I don't think the world recognizes. I guess I need to preface this with, I'm not a PTSD-er on everything. I think the unfortunate side of PTSD is some people claim it unfortunately. And I shouldn't say unfortunately, unrightfully. They're a PTSD from I tripped over my shoelace and now I can't go outside. There's just some really soft ones,
for that
right?
one.
And I get some of it, and I don't want to sit here and armchair quarterback that what they can deal with as humans and what they can't deal with as humans. It's not my thing. But what we expose ourselves to every day, and I'm not saying it's different than what other people have seen on the street, that it may have been an accident they pulled upon, a family member in a household that they've seen, they could trigger this really hard PTSD side, right? But even if we go into this job, we know what we signed up for.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's an argument.
We knew what we signed up for.
And we know.
A lot of kids don't.
Really?
Absolutely. I've actually told a few firefighters you're not meant for this job. You can't.
Well, yeah. That have passed out at the first sign of blood. And
Yeah.
a paramedic student.
Yeah.
We did a chest, or we were at the hospital. We dropped off a guy and they were doing a chest tube. And this kid, we were doing CPR on him. Doctor, I can't remember his name, drops a chest tube. He's feeling around, puts his finger in, and the student's looking at it. And he just went, face down, blood everywhere. We're looking at it. Huh? Look at it, keep going. He stands up, bleeding out his nose, right?
Yeah.
He got a bloody, walks out the side doors of Ogden Regional. We were in room 1.
Yeah.
Is that the one right by the door?
Yep.
He walks in, walked out. We're like, where'd he go? Never came back.
Yeah.
We never talked to him ever again.
I had an EMT
Right
student
thing.
the same way. We had to crack a guy online out on the street. And one of the funny, it's a quick story, but this kid, bullet bike went head on to a Ford Bronco, and we're working him. And he had a helmet on, but his jaw was dislocated over,
Sure.
so they had to crike him. Well, the medics there were some seasoned medics, but they'd never done a crike. So I'm spotting them. I'm landmarking to do the cut, and there's an EMT student sitting there with a backboard, and the medic is shaking so bad he's afraid to make that cut because you're cutting somebody's throat. You know, you're cutting a guy's throat here. And out of the back, Wade Wilson, who was a retired engineer from us now, says, "Just cut the sucker." So he cuts it, little blood, everything's gone, and the girl passes out. And she left right after that call and never came back.
Just walked home.
But we also had a firefighter that couldn't take it either. And it's like, dude, you're not meant for this job. You know, you may want to consider another line of work because this is what you're going to have to deal with.
So they have the passion, they have the drive.
Yeah.
But then there's these disconnects that happen. And so I think PTSD occurs. And I think even if we can handle the call, it's the chipping of the calls over and over and over again. And the unfortunate side is EMS and fire, we deal with the same 3%. It may be a rotating 3%, but it seems like a flow of 3%er, right? The same 3% at a time that till they die, right? That's our customer. But I think we end up becoming overprotective. We become a little bit edgy. That's our compensation mode, so, at least for me. Like, so you don't have to worry every minute.
So we're really big on the emotional side of things now, especially in Ogden, and that debriefing and making sure. So
CISDs.
CISDs, just
which is
the
critical
mental
incident
health.
scene debriefing, so you guys know.
And the mental health side of things. So after every call, if it's pretty traumatic, I'll sit everybody in there and says, "Are you okay? Are you all right with this?" I mean, we had an incident a while back where we had a crew that I happened to be over. We missed a guy that was on a fire that passed away in the fire. We didn't see it because he was back in a closet, shoved in. It was an easy miss. My guys took it hard. "Are you guys okay?" Well, we could have. No, he was gone before. He was already gone. You have to understand this. I've seen this before in the past. He was hiding. He was in a closet. He was just freeloading in this house, and and whatnot. So, but my whole thing was,
you weren't going to save him, but they took it hard anyway.
But they took it hard anyway because they thought, well, if we'd have found him initially, then we would have saved him. No, he was already gone. You have to understand this, guys. But that's that experience versus non. And these young guys coming in saying, hey, they think they're going to save everybody. And they're not.
Well, you want to, and you hope, right?
That's our goal.
That's what we're trying. That's what we're here for.
We're Superman, you know,
in our heart, right?
We think we can save everybody.
And then you have your wife that's like, I am so not impressed. Like, what? You realize what I did yesterday? And like, you didn't mow the lawn.
Yeah,
I know that.
Yeah, you didn't do
I know
laundry.
that. You didn't help here in the kitchen.
Exactly.
I know that.
Yeah.
You never called me yesterday. I know that.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
So you win at some things, but suck at others. So
Yeah.
you know, back to your memorial thing. I feel like PTSD has a place, and I think it's a good way to recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's amazing that you've spent so much time and effort just putting together this wall. You're how many years in?
Oh man, we're probably about 12 to 15 in on this memorial, because on average the fire rider generates maybe $20,000 a year, and we try to get through brick sales and a couple private donators. You know, John Gullo was American Dream Foundation, helped out quite a bit with getting us some funding and different things. But you know, it's been a hard push trying to get it done. And
now it's time. You'd like to see this thing get wrapped up.
I'd love to see it.
And you're looking for another, you know, close to $500,000 roughly to get it all wrapped up and done right.
Right.
To describe the wall, it's a big black marble wall, right? That has the names cut into
5.5 feet
it
tall
with a bunch of states. All the states are listed, not necessarily in order.
Right.
The states aren't in order, and
the names aren't. The names are in order of their death,
but not
in the state. Because like the very first state is Utah, and the very first name is a lady's name. She was the very first one to recognize line of duty death in 1986. So she was the first name on the wall. And then it
just goes progressive.
And it goes progressive. It's like the Vietnam Wall, just keeps going, flowing with the names and stuff. And so,
I love it.
Unfortunately, I know 5 people on the wall. But I was personally
not a
friends
bragging
with.
point.
No, not a bragging point.
No, I'm just teasing.
I actually, because I do a presentation to our new hires and show them Kendall's name. Chief Craig Starr, who's a volunteer firefighter up in Plymouth, who passed away as a full arrest.
On a call.
Mm-hmm. You know, Matt, the firefighter from Draper that just passed away, the captain out in California. You know,
the Weber guy.
The Weber guy, Peterson.
Yeah. I'm like, wait a second, brain fart.
Yeah. You know, just different, there's different people on that I know. It's really funny because there's a Robert L. King on there, and that's my brother's name, my twin. But he's not a firefighter. He's not on the wall. But that was a firefighter in New York that passed away during 9/11. Wow. So
what's pushed you to go 10, 12, 15 years at this game? Why do you want to get it done? What's your goal? So what is the drive?
The drive is, again, having a spot for people to recognize that firefighters, this is what they do. We lose on average 60 to 100 firefighters a year in line of duty. People aren't aware of that. It's really funny because everybody as human beings, I believe, wants to have some sort of legacy. My name's nowhere on this wall. You'll not find my name anywhere on there. It's not about Rich King. It's about honoring our firefighters, our professions we've chosen. And I've taken it personal to get it done. I never leave things half finished, and it's not done. You know, I want to see.
And Rich has been such a push. Like, he's got a presentation here, and we've met over the last couple of years as we've gone through our different opportunities, and we've grown our companies to be able to help do a little bit more. Now we can get to the position where we can do it. But I'd love to see anybody and everybody that feels like they want to help or participate, or you have a foundation or a family fund that would love to contribute.
Absolutely.
We'd love to have you call. You can get a hold of us directly. You can get a hold of Rich King. We'll drop his information here at the bottom of the video so you can get a hold of him. Campaigns, anything you could do to come visit and participate, we'd love it.
Bottom line is, and I'm not sure how this really comes about, but I'm a firefighter. I'm just a simple firefighter. I love fire. That's what I do. I don't have a problem speaking to people, but I have to know the right people. And I don't know the right people but I also am not afraid to talk to anybody.
Right.
You know,
you shouldn't be.
And because they put their pants on the same way I do. Money doesn't make you better than me.
No, ever. And I don't think any of them feel that. I think we just need to introduce you to it.
But there are those individuals that sometimes will distance yourself from that, not want to get caught in that, you know, because I've met some of those people through this process too. But it's just a matter of just trying to help out. And when we do the funeral service, we do it every September 11th or around that weekend. This year it happens to be on September 11th on Patriots Day. We're having the fire ride, the memorial service. We're putting names on the wall. We're gonna ring the bell. There's gonna be firemen, trucks, bikes. We're imagining this is probably one of our biggest rallies ever, because our biggest rally to date was right around 2,000 motorcycles coming down the street, police escorted.
Amazing, yeah.
And you're probably going to see, we're expecting double than that.
Wow.
Yeah, because there's a big event in Weaver County also, the 911 event that's going on at the fairgrounds.
Are you going to make it easy for people to contribute at that?
Oh, absolutely.
You get a place to donate.
Yep.
Where they can claim it now.
There's things set up. We're a 501c3. It's all, you can claim it on your taxes, whatever you do. But I need to find those people with a passion that want to just say, let's help out.
So for companies that want to participate, what kind of programs are you thinking about putting together that they may be able to do? Say, as teams, or as you get bigger, you decide in a quarterly area or annual budget that you want to put together and contribute. If there's something they'd want to donate, maybe as little as 25,000,
Mm-hmm.
50,000, or 100 grand. For companies, it isn't much, right?
Right, but
for the right one.
But for the right one, it's kind of like there's been companies in the past that'll have a gold, silver, bronze level type things, and we've got things that we've come up with, like big replicas of the statue, large ones, medium sized ones, different kind of like things like that a company can put in their
office, corporate lobby,
whatever, saying I'm a donator to this, and that would be great. And here's the thing: even after the funds and this thing is built, all the fundings that are left over will have a maintenance cost, to keep the upkeep of the memorial, and then to keep up the names and that.
Yeah, this is stone that has to be polished.
That's absolutely.
Yeah. And then you have new names every year, unfortunately.
But anything's generated above that goes back to the National Memorial in Emmitsburg, to their scholarship funds for the fallen fire.
What do you guys take out of it every year? How much do you pay yourself?
Nothing.
Does anybody pay themselves?
No.
Oh, so it's a real place to donate money.
It is a real place to donate
So
money.
it's not just a 95% we keep for overhead and then 5% goes towards the donation.
No, we keep nothing.
So it's a 100% voluntary paid deal.
Yep.
Do you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a real one.
Yeah.
Weird. So the people that work for the least amount of money with the most amount of hours, giving most amount of time, aren't taking advantage of the easiest place, where the most capitalistic place for people to take advantage of. I don't know, maybe the Clintons, right? That family, right?
The Bidens.
The Clinton Foundation, right? So, well, they had a lot because they had such an overhead piece. So you're taking back zero, and I'm not saying that in any other way than, hey, look, it's pure, right? Mm-hmm. This is all to go back to the families that lost their family, or their father, their mother, their brother, their sister, their child. Like it's a really pure place, and the efforts that are put forth and the time that is given is 100% for free, and the dollars go directly to the improvements and the additions to the foundation.
Correct. So
everyone that's listening that has a foundation or a budget that they can contribute to this, do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's $1,000. 25 grand.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. 10. There's not a little bit.
Buy a brick. Brick's $100.
Yeah. At an individual level. If you're a firefighter, get a hold of Rich. Let's buy a brick. Put a name that you know of someone, or help Rich, and buy a family name, right?
I have one special brick down there, and it says Rico. That was my dog. I bought him a brick.
Now there you go.
My best friend, when the years that we had him from, he was 13 years old when we had to put him down. He has a brick at the memorial.
I'd encourage all firefighters on the West Coast to donate at least $100. We all have $100. We're already giving everything. What's another $100 to go towards this? I mean, unfortunately, with some of our friends, families, and hopefully not us, are on that wall, right? We want to live past it. But
absolutely.
We have to be really appreciative of the time that you give, and we're excited to participate. As Murphy Door, we're going to do a roundup campaign. Like I've told you, we've got all the stuff set up to where you can choose to contribute the gap of your card. So if it's $1,005 and you want to round up to $1,010, we'll donate. They'll have an opportunity to select fire, police, and military. Mm-hmm. And then for the fire side, we've chosen to give it to the memorial side. And then the police side, we still are deciding on police and military. But right now, This will be the first roundup campaign we've done. It's not going to be perfect, but we're more than happy to participate in it. Awesome. The lateral will be doing the same thing. So Murphy Lateral had that same opportunity. You can also add contribute extra, and whatever that is in that box, either one of those boxes, the roundup total or the contribution margin that they want to increase, it's all going to that. That's awesome. We don't want to keep any of it.
Right.
There's no management fees. We want to give back.
The gratitude and I can't tell you, the appreciation, it goes beyond what I can even describe into words. But the biggest thing is wanting to get this memorial finished. And some of the things, just to give you a heads up on some projections we got going. I mean, one of the statues we're going to have added to the lot is a firefighter touching, we call it the hand of God. We're going to have a hand coming down, and a light will shine through the.
So awesome. It's so pretty.
Another one we're going to have is, this shows the camaraderie and the brotherhood of police and fire, because the police, Ogden Police Fallen is down there on a memorial. Frankham and Lyday and some others from the past. And
those are Franklin and Lyday are just really recent.
Yeah, yes, they are recent. And so my idea was, this was my idea, but we're going to have the artist from Arizona do the concept, and on the statue of it is a firefighter and a police officer arm in arm holding a folded flag. Everything will be in bronze except the flag will be blue.
So to add to this, speaking of your artists and anybody that does monuments, that works in stone, that works in statues, that wants to contribute time or donate some work,
absolutely,
we take it, right? Absolutely. So I don't want to say we, but I mean, I'm sure Rich would.
We sounds good.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just not trying to take any glory. Also, I'm saying is Rich is open to whatever it can help, or whatever you can do to help us finish. Like for us as firefighters, I guess is where I'm speaking from. I'd love to see that whole thing. It's beautiful.
But what I want people to know, and I say this at every memorial service that we do, it's your memorial. This is your memorial. It's not just the firefighters place.
You're just putting it together.
I'm just putting it together. It's yours. So let's take care of yours, and because we work for you. We work for them.
What's your website that they can go? Can they contribute off your website?
America's Fallen Firefighter.
And is there a bucket there they can donate in?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. I think it's really honorable, and I know that you've given out of your personal retirement to help pay some of the bills as we've got behind, and that's much appreciative. And it shouldn't be that way, but it's super respectful of how you want to run it and the representation that you want. But first and foremost, it's surprising to me how much time you've taken out of your own personal life to work towards nothing when it comes to dollars, but 100% towards this legacy of firemen, not you as a firefighter, but the whole career. And it's super honorable. Like there's something to be said about someone that's not trying to go and better themselves financially, and they're spinning their wheels over here. And then not only that, taking part of their contribution of retirement and sticking it into this foundation.
See, I look at this memorial as it's a legacy. Your kids can go down there and say, my dad was a firefighter. This is what he was about. And his grandkids and their grandkids, your kids, and so my grandkids definitely can go over and says, yeah, grandpa helped with this. Grandpa was a firefighter.
Yeah.
Just helped. That's all it is. It's like I said.
And it's a forever deal. It's built out of the right stuff. It's
got a place for a pigeon to sit and shit for the rest of their lives.
Well, at least they're non-discretionary.
Yeah,
right. They'll just go wherever it is.
Yeah, wherever.
So, anyway, there's much appreciation there, and I don't think you get enough credit for it. And honestly, to be fair, I had no idea it was even there.
Exactly.
So I don't think us as city residents or city managers or city governments, state governments, are doing enough to share the story. Like there needs to be some more, light brought to that.
Yeah, we've gone on board with the city and their special events people, and that's why when we do the memorial service, and it really chimes in good for the city and us as a partnership, because farmers market's going on. We bring things business.
What about the state? Market. Have we got much attention from the state level?
Nope, not yet, but we have Jeannie Taylor on board, Major Taylor's wife.
Oh, good.
The widow.
That'll bring some attention.
And she has, and I'm hoping, because we've been talking, and this big event, this 911 event, is focused around the memorial, the fire ride, and their 911 event at Weber County Fairgrounds, which is what were you doing on 9/11? What was Weber County doing in September?
I was at the World Trade Center on September 10th.
Were you really?
Really.
Wow.
I have a receipt. for spinach pizza from World Trade Center Plaza, September 10th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And I was in Chicago.
That's crazy.
Which was the weirdest day to be in Chicago and have no planes. I saw the president's plane twice that day flying over 80. And it was the, Air Force One with a pattern of jets around it. I was sitting at Flying J in Gary, Indiana. Wow. Going in, and I walked in and there was no one in the store. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Went to the TV room, completely packed. Everybody's crying. And I'm like, what the hell? And then my phone rings and it's my girlfriend at the time. She says, are you still in New York? I'm like, no. She goes, well, the World Trade Center is gone. I'm like, no, it's not. I was there yesterday.
Yeah.
It's not gone.
And see, being from the East Coast, I'd visited, and you could see those structures up there, which was kind of ironic, too, because when we were there, it's like Mount Ben Lomond here, or the mountains that we have, there's your landmark.
Yep, that is it. That is the skyline.
It's the skyline, and the New Yorkers lost their landmark because now it's like they look up. But the other thing, too, is when we were there, when a plane would pass over, they're all looking up. Everybody's looking up now.
A little nervous.
A lot nervous.
Conditioning, right? What we do to fear.
Now, I've been in New York before. Some of the most ignorant people I've ever met in my life.
I lived there for 6 months.
After 9/11, they were very receptive to us as firefighters and coming in and working, doing our thing.
That went away.
Huh? It did. Well, and actually, no, because when I went back for the World Police and Fire Games in 2011, they were still.
What about today?
I have no clue. I've been back there.
The last time I went to the 9/11 service in 2018 at World Trade Center Plaza, and it was remarkable. It was great.
See, that's one thing too that I've emphasized.
But there wasn't near as many people as I would hope to have seen.
Yeah,
I mean, I could walk around freely.
It should be packed. It should be.
Right.
We should never forget that. And that's one of the things with this 911 event we're having here in Weaver County that we don't forget it. It wasn't a conspiracy. It wasn't. It was a real event. And the thing with those people went through a major traumatic, but it's not about 343 firefighters. It's about the other 2,000 people's lives that were lost.
Right.
It's not just about
the firefighters chose.
That's what we do. You and I would have been on that, going up those things,
and we wouldn't have blinked either.
No,
it's fine, and we know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, actually.
Yep.
That's a weird place to be.
Absolutely.
You walk in and you're like, it's okay.
Yep.
Just enter.
I've done many a presentation after our visit back there and with the widows and things that we had. Excuse me.
You're all right.
And one of the hardest things for me is just the past devices when you hear those going off, because you know what that is.
Oh yeah, down firefighter.
It's a down firefighter. So
a past device is a device that alerts when somebody stops moving for a certain amount of seconds.
Yep. 30 seconds. They're done. And you just keep hearing those things going off.
One after the other.
Yep.
After the other.
Until the batteries run out.
Until the batteries run out.
But then I met a Jimmy Schmitz. He signed a picture that I drew, and then we took back and presented to. It was the guys raising the flag with the firefighter in the clouds saluting, and he was the engineer on engine 10. He was underneath his engine as the building came down. So he was one of the only survivors out of his ship that day. Incredible story.
It's a cool department to visit during 9/11 too, by the way. I have some cool pictures I'll have to show you another time. Anyway, I love it. I love the fact that you've put so much time in. And I think it needs to be much appreciated, and anything that anyone can do to help it
absolutely
would be much respected, and we'd take it with honor. Like we'd be happy to say we don't need it, but we do, right? It really is needed, and any type of anything that anyone can participate in, please call me directly if you have my number or my email address, or reach out to Rich King on his email or the website. Donate where you can. If you're buying a Murphy door or a Murphy ladder, choose to round up. We'll get that going right away. And then those will go straight across with no fees attached. But anyway, I really appreciate everything that you've done in your career. And what's your plan? So where are we headed?
So
building your dream house right now.
I'm building our dream house up in Liberty, up there in the mountains.
So right by Pine View.
Yep. And so the plan is to
and Powder Mountain. More snow basin.
More Nordic.
Nordic, okay, fair, but that's not one you want to brag. Not that there's anything wrong with Nordic.
But let me tell you,
good place to learn to ski.
Let me tell you, from the view from my front window, is when Nordic's lit up at night, it's beautiful, and in the snow, because we were up there this last winter and we watched, and it was beautiful. The night skiing and stuff, it made that mountain look great.
Right.
And then we got Ben Lomond on the other side that we can see from our.
Oh, your
other
place is beautiful all the way around.
Yeah, we were surrounded by mountains, so it's great. So the plan is, we were talking about this, and it's like it's age based, but I mean, I'll be 62 in 4 years, and my plan is to go as long as I can stay healthy mentally and
Is that
physically.
25?
But 30.
You'll be at 30.
Yeah.
Freaking so old.
I classify it. I'll be at almost 40 complete.
Yeah, with your
Over
other
40 with
services.
my other services, and that's my goal, is just to go as long as I can, as I can say mentally and physically fit to do the job. Once I'm not, I'm done. Or 2 bad calls.
Yeah, 2 bad calls, 2 10 12.
Yeah, I'm 10 12. Yeah.
2 people piss you off by 10, you're out by 12.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a heck of a career for you, and it's been fun in the past. I haven't run with you for a long time.
Oh.
It's been a while. I moved up north, and I don't sit in the Roy station as much. It's something I just miss every day. If I could go back, truly go back, I would do it. I would so do it.
Absolutely.
It is my favorite part of my day.
I'm a firm believer, and maybe this is what has made my career successful and makes me get through it. And that the old adage, if you truly love your job, you'll never work a day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that way about firefighting.
Yeah.
I've worked my ass off on things, but not every day. You know, when you're working, you're working.
Mm-hmm.
When you're downtime, you get your downtime. You get to work out. I get to work out. I get paid to work out. You know,
Yeah.
because I'm on duty.
And you do it.
Yeah, I try. You know, but I truly feel that I love my job. I love what I do, and if you do that, nothing will get you down.
I feel that way about Murphy Door too, though. So this is where I'm torn. I love Murphy Door.
Mm-hmm.
I love Murphy Ladder. I love the creativity side. I love fire. I found myself frustrated with fire. And it was not because of the job. I love the job. I love the family. Like leaving a fire department, and you haven't done this yet, but you walk out and it's like they don't even care anymore.
Right.
You're like, you're dead now. Like, you're not on our shift. We would do stuff off duty all the time, right? Because you become on and off duty family. And then you're just like, okay, we're no longer family anymore. Well, kind of, but you get left in a weird spot. And then you sit there and you miss that job every minute of your life. But I was frustrated in the sense of, like, we don't even get appreciated.
Right.
And I let that probably sour. And I think that happens a lot, right? We get frustrated with the underpay, and the drama that happens over it internally is pretty lame.
If you don't mind me saying too, I think one of your frustrations, though, being a leader in Murphy Door, Murphy Ladder, being the man, and seeing how some other leaders have run other things, you're like, oh no, that's not the way.
Yeah, I'm not a very good. I'm kind of clash.
Yeah,
at times, and I don't have a mute button, which is detrimental to the fire.
That's what I love about you, man. There's no mute button. That's why I think that's why I think I get along with you well, because I've lost my filter over the years, especially the older I'm getting. I don't care.
Yeah,
you're going to hear what I have to say. You may like it, you may not like it, but I'm going to say it, and I try to be politically correct if I can.
Right.
But I've learned a long time ago, you're going to hear the truth, and it's going to be the truth, because I'm not going to say I've never lied, but it's what you feel. But you may not want to hear it. I may not want to say it, but it's going to get said.
Which I can appreciate. I love it. I love when it's like, dude, you freaking sucked. What in the heck is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm right? I really suck bad right there. But I mean, in every way, I have a hard time holding my mute button when stuff's frustrating me. I am a very, well, and maybe I'm just patting my own back, but I feel like a very big protector. When people take advantage of people that aren't as strong as others, whether it be the chiefs or the captains or even a firefighter, that have a tendency to posture up against someone, you'll get me.
Oh, yeah. You stand up for the little guy. Not everybody's going to stand up for the little guy.
Yeah.
And it's the big guys that love to push their weight on the little guy.
And I hate that.
I get it. I do.
I hate that. And in the fire world, like, you get those big guys that push it on the new guys, and then they change the whole outlook of the career, which is sad, right? You'll see people come in and they want to be a great firefighter, and then you have this senior guy that really pushes them down, and then all of a sudden they lose all ambition.
Oh, I've dealt with those guys that the new guy wants to go train. He wants to learn everything. He wants to be He wants to be right there on point.
You got a 2-10-12 that's
yeah,
like, no.
Yeah. But then you got the old guy that's like, do we have to go train again? It's like, you really need to go train, because it's the old guy that you worry about. I worry about, because most of those young guys are coming out of academies,
right? And
their academies have taught them pretty well.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, some of us old guys can learn a few things from these guys, but it's the older guys that you usually need to work, and we got to keep them up and keep them going. I've been blessed with a pretty good crew, and I got some young guys, but they're hard workers. So I'm
but it follows the leader, right? Yeah. And that's the question, which is in a captain's interview. I participated in a captain's interview a little while ago, and not that I was testing, but just on the panel. And one of the questions was, how would you define a leader, right? Pretty open question. And then you had a lot of, well, I'm a leader that would lead from behind, or I'm a leader that likes to lead in the middle, or I'm a leader that likes to lead from the front. I don't know if there's a right answer.
The way I look at it, and this is the way I've always presented it to my crews and others, that I'm just a figurehead. I'm no better. My crews make me or break me. Mm-hmm. I'm only as good as my crews. And I try to be as good, and I try to be a good influence and leader to them, so they will support me in accomplishing our goals. Because if you don't, it's going to be really rough.
So, well, that's the downfall. So I think as we try to train the next generation of leaders, even in Murphy Door, what you see is they're nervous. Well, if a team lead out there is doing well, that's fine. But they don't realize that by teaching upwards and training them to be better than, or training your people under you to be better than you, it really makes the leader the rock star. You know, and I see a lot of nerves from people, or get nervous because they feel like if they train someone to know everything about what your job is and more, they're going to take your job.
Good.
And they should.
Absolutely.
Because someone needs to step into where you're at so you can move up.
So my philosophy has always been, I'm looking for my replacement.
Amen.
Because I've got to teach you everything I know, and then you bring in your thing and put your edge on it.
Yep.
And I've had 4 or 5 guys now that have been under me that are captains now.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. And so it works, because if I've had captains that I can't share my knowledge because I got to know everything. It's all about me.
It's a big problem here.
Yeah, that is.
It is a big problem here.
Yeah. And so you should be that guy that says, I'm going to teach you everything I know because I want you to take my job, because I'm not going to be here forever.
I don't want to be.
No, I'm going to teach you everything I know. And
so what's the secret recipe to being picked as a leader? I have a quick one, but what do you say? I want to hear yours.
So I know the guys are going to be leaders or not. I hear them out. I hear the lip service and stuff, but it's their actions that define them, because it's like, you tell me you want to be a leader, but you're not showing me you want to be a leader. You may think you may hold 12 degrees and all this, but you're dumber than a box of rocks, you know? And so I look for that guy that will, I'll use this analogy. I'm going to be out there washing the truck. I'm the captain. Guess what? I can do it. But my guys know that if I'm not out there the next time, that means I was busy and I had something to do. But I will be out there doing everything.
When I have time.
When I have time. Yeah. When I have, and there's guys that make excuses. Well, I got to check.
So a hands-on leader.
Yeah, I'm a hands-on leader. And I figure I'm going to lead by example. Mm-hmm. If I expect my guys to do it, I better be able to do it. You know? That's
only fair.
Yeah. And so that's...
and you better be willing.
Exactly.
If you're telling someone to get down and clean the sewer trench, well...
I've been there.
You better get down there and be willing to do it again.
But with their toothbrush. Not mine.
Right. The one thing I hear that I don't love is when people say, well, I've been there, but I'm not doing it anymore. Because I've already done it.
You know what?
Then it's really hard to sell, right? So for me, to help me see who's going to make it here and who isn't in the fire service or at Murphy Door or Murphy Ladder or wherever we're at, it's a really easy formula to win. Life is easy. The formula to winning is just be 1 minute earlier than anybody else on your team, right?
Yeah.
Walk 1 step faster during the day and stay 1 minute later. And when you exit, just say, is there anything else you need from me? Because when you're the only guy there in the morning, your leader should always be first. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, he should always be last. He is the captain, referring to like a boat captain that goes down with the ship, right? So he should be the first to get his team ready, and he should be the last off the boat.
Gotta take par.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Right.
And if you're not willing to participate in that, then you shouldn't do it. Right. You shouldn't be signing up for this. But life, the recipe to it's simple. Get there before anyone. You're the only guy your leader sees.
Now, I'm going to go one step beyond that for just a minute, because I have guys, for me personally, and this is the way I've been my whole life, I'm usually a half hour early.
And when I say 1 minute, just be...
No. But I had guys starting to be 45 minutes early. I got one guy that's an hour.
So it's competitive.
Dude, you can't be an hour early because now I got to start paying you overtime.
Right.
Did I get this? You know, because
Right.
you're there an hour early, and your relief's leaving. So you're on duty. You're on the clock.
Right.
So but I've always told guys that come to work with us, hey, look, if I'm 15 minutes early, I'm late.
Agree.
I'm
I told Tayton that too, even for curfew.
Yeah.
So my boy's Tayton, and I just say, hey, if you're 15
I love your son,
minutes,
by the way. He's a great kid.
he's a good kid.
He's a good
If
kid.
you're 15 minutes late for curfew, or 15 minutes before 11, you're late. Right?
Yeah.
He goes, well, my curfew's 11. I'm like, yeah, I want you home no later than 10:44. Because at 15 minutes before you're late,
Yeah.
I need to know that you have that common courtesy, right? So when I reflectively, it's a point of reference. Like, hey, if you just are here before everyone, your leader is going to be the first. You're the only one by yourself. If you walk one step faster than everyone else in the whole department,
Yep.
or at the whole office, you're the one that sticks out because there's this oddball that's walking faster than everyone. And at the end of the day, he's the last one. It's like, is there anything you need that sweeps up? When you need to talk to someone, when the morning starts, who do you have to hit up? The guy that was there last. He'll know, right? At the end of the day, who's
So-
going to catch up with?
So something comes to mind now because you've asked me what my longevity has been. And this is one thing I tell all my guys. I don't know everything. And I will never claim to know everything. And I've taken a big part of learning more and more and more. I was a truck captain for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an engine captain for 10 years. I've been on an engine most of my career. Now I'm a truck captain. So guess what? I got to learn truck ops. I got to learn how to run a ladder truck. I got to learn how to do these other things. ARF, airport, airport stuff. So I got to learn all this stuff over again and do it because I did it in the Navy. But it keeps me young because I'm learning again. Mm-hmm. As long as you keep learning, you're going to succeed.
Yeah, it's true. Can't be stagnant.
Nope.
Be early. Be fast.
Don't tell me you know everything.
Don't know everything. Be willing to learn, and be the first one willing to say, "I don't know." I don't know is not a bad thing. The inability to say so is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Dangerous.
Yeah. I don't know everything. We'll learn this thing together if we have to. But the one thing I can promise you, I have your back, and I've made a promise to every family member on my crew. I would promise I will try to everything in my power to bring your loved one home every morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good.
That's my promise to you.
Can't guarantee it, but
I can't
do the
guarantee
best
it,
I can.
but I will do everything within my power to make sure. Because if he don't come home, I better not be coming home either.
Right. That's the way it should work.
Yep.
So.
But I know my guys have my back too, and just because we learn things together, and they appreciate that and the honesty.
Right.
Because we've had some pretty blunt conversations with some guys that were struggling that they needed the blunt. And I was like, you're doing okay. You just keep doing what you're doing. Because I've had leaders like that.
They're afraid.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. Well, I didn't get it. So what am I doing wrong? So.
What would you have done different? Hindsight.
Nothing.
Really?
I love my career. I love where I'm at. Awesome. People have asked me, like, there's a battalion chief slot coming open in Ogden and different things. And am I going to apply? No, I'm not. Because in my career, what I've learned over my career, because I was in training out at Thicol for quite a bit, and I've been involved in training aspects of firefighting. I know that my role as a firefighter, as a fire captain, is to teach, and to teach the young people coming up. That's my goal. Mm-hmm. So to be a captain.
You don't want to lose that.
I don't.
Ogden, that's pretty much the last real fire station. You in West Valley in the state of Utah, right? And Roy and South Ogden and Weaver just kind of ride the coattails of the transient world that burn every house down in Weaver County, right?
Yeah.
So you guys really are it that are still responding to fires, because basically the fire departments around the country have done the best job of putting themselves out of business, right?
Yep.
They've got a lot of fire protection. Now, granted, the fires are hotter and they burn quicker, and there's a whole lot of
public safety,
more risk,
or PubMed,
right? But now the concern you have is they just don't have as many.
Yeah.
But Ogden, it burns.
We still have a lot.
And West Valley burns, Magna.
Yeah.
But
it's funny, my new driver and I, Nick, I love Nick. He's a
Nick's
great
awesome
kid. Since he's been with me, he told me we've been on 21 working fires in the year he's been with me, which is a lot for...
That's a lot for a fire department. Yeah. Fires aren't every day, everybody.
No.
Not what you think.
And I usually don't count, I don't count grass fires.
As a working.
I don't count grass fires. But
just let it go. It'll go out.
Yeah, it'll go out eventually.
It'll be fine.
We're talking fully involved homes or room of content, or here lately, vehicle fires. Oh my gosh, we've had a lot of those burning right to the ground.
Have you?
Yeah. But it's
weird.
It's been really, I don't know.
you know what, Rich? It was a lot of fun catching up, and I'm excited for where this fire memorial is going, and
I appreciate
to have you around for a few more years anyway.
Absolutely. That's the thing, too. Is one of the funny things when we just did Dennis Montgomery's funeral, old firefighter from Ogden and Weber, and started out in Weber, went to Ogden after when the medics switched over, and then he was a fire marshal at Weber State forever.
That was what, last week?
It was Monday.
This
Monday, yeah. But we did his funeral as the honor guard and whatnot. But one of the things that came, Chief Matthews asked me, my wife's been telling me this for years, even when I retire, I'll probably still do the honor guard for a few years. Because one of the things Chief Matthews brought to my point, and I'm looking for this, if anybody out there wants to be part of an honor guard, I need to find somebody with my passion. Because
that'll continue the honor guard.
I don't want to see it go away.
What do you think about Jimmy? Is he going to do it?
Jimmy's leaving when I'm leaving.
Oh, is he?
We came into this together.
Does he have gray hair?
You know, I don't think he does.
He's so freaking perfectly dressed.
He is, and he does.
Little guy.
He's like, for a little dude, he's solid, man.
I worked
he's
Roy with
top
him.
notch.
Top notch.
He's an E9 in the Air Force.
Yeah, he's
commanding E. I don't know what they are, master sergeants, whatever they are.
But he acts like it too. It's like Jimmy, geez. But you know what I loved working with him as an EMT in the ambulance, and that's what's great about your guys in Ogden. Like the flow of gear, like you're doing a skill, like whatever it is. You don't have to say what you need. Mm-hmm. You're just into the next thing. You can reach your hand, and no one's asking questions. And there were some really good ones. Terry Johnson, really good at it. Terry Johnson was really good at what you needed next. So, you know, some people shine as EMTs and fumble a little bit when they become medics. And I'm not saying either way, but as an EMT, he was a great EMT, right? And Jimmy, he was that guy. Like you didn't have to look at Jimmy. You didn't make eye contact. I didn't even have to say what gauge needle I wanted. Right. Like I'm like, oh, this is a 16. This is an 18. This is a 20.
You can look and see.
I can look, and I'd get exactly. He'd hand me what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is the guy I want to work with, right? That you don't have communication, you don't have pulses, like as far as angst, you don't have this emotional roller coaster, like, oh Lord, he's in cardiac arrest. What are we going to do? Right. Well, the same thing you always do, right?
Yeah. So I'll probably still do a little bit of the honor guard after I retire. Lee Watts, who was I
freaking love Lee Watts.
You know, he lives up in Morgan. You know, he did a little Morgan stuff for a while.
He was a Roy boy.
Roy boy, medic, captain. Yeah, he's still on the honor guard.
Is he?
After retirement.
I freaking love Lee Watts.
Yeah.
So I was there when he backed his truck out. He'd open the door and back the truck, or pulled the engine out of the Morgan Bay with the door down and ripped the whole face of the Morgan County Fire Department brick wall off. So I'm like, Lee, and he's like, that's Rick. So Waller,
Sean?
No, Dad, Kevin went up and re-bricked it.
Oh,
but
nice.
To see the whole wall, and here's this senior medic captain from Roy, all busy at the volunteer department that rips the face off the station.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah, appreciate the time.
Yeah, anyway, appreciate everything you've done and everything you're doing. We look forward to it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Have a great one. Bye-bye.